I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Corn Belt Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we check in with corn planting progress and soybean planting progress numbers here from the June 3rd USD Crop Progress Report, and then we combine that with the weather forecast for the next week, there are two areas that I really want to focus in on, and that's the eastern Corn Belt and then parts of the Dakotas here, especially South Dakota, where we're well behind average, and the forecast does have some problematic factors here going through the next 7 days or so. So we're going to talk about that and try and show each area here as we go through the forecast. Looking at the last 48 hours, though, we can see that we've been shifting to a regime here where we got more scattered pockets of precipitation rather than dealing with the big storm systems and multiple states seeing prolonged periods of heavy soaking rains. It's these clusters of showers and storms, a typical June pattern that is a bit frustrating to forecast, but is maybe not quite so problematic. Again, keeping the rains not from being so widespread, but in more isolated, patchy areas. We had one patch of rain that's moving across parts of northern Illinois this morning, and that it continues to progress across northeastern Illinois, close to the Chicago area. We saw scattered showers and storms during the overnight and early morning hours across parts of North Dakota, and then as well across parts of Kansas, with isolated areas elsewhere around the Corn Belt here. But those were the two major areas where we've seen precipitation over the last 48 hours, the three major areas. The last 14 days, though, that really highlights the pattern here that we saw, the major trough over the western U.S., with the ridge in the eastern U.S., keeping things very active across the middle part of the country and across a big part of the Corn Belt. Here's a look at the jet stream a week ago. That does show that alignment with the big trough over the west, the ridge over the east. But if we fast forward to today, we're looking at something more like this, where the faster jet stream winds have shifted off to the north. This is a typical June look, and that means we have to hone in on these smaller patches of these faster jet stream winds called shortwave troughs. If we jump back here, looking at a week ago, this is a long wave where we see these long waves within the jet stream, a big trough, a big ridge. Those are our long waves. But then again, we jump back to today. We have to focus in on these little short waves, these small patches of quicker winds that we see, something like that right across the middle part of the country. And that's what's responsible for the showers and storms in the forecast for the eastern Corn Belt here as we go through the day Tuesday and Wednesday. If you look off to the southwest, this is the other player that we're going to be talking about in the Corn Belt, at least across parts of the eastern Corn Belt later on in the week. We've got this trough over the southwestern United States that over time, the next few days, is going to begin to migrate off to the east very slowly, bringing some rain into parts of the Ohio River Valley, the mid-Mississippi Valley, the lower Mississippi Valley, and that, again, includes parts of the eastern Corn Belt. Now, we'll also be watching this trough here that's off the Pacific Northwest coast right now as that begins to progress eastward, and that's going to bring chances for showers and storms to parts of the Dakotas as we get into the later part of the week, and as well as across parts of Minnesota. This is what that will look like then. If we jump ahead to taking a look at the same picture here, the jet stream on Thursday, we see that trough over the southwestern United States beginning to make progress across the southern United States, and then this big trough is beginning to move ashore over the Pacific Northwest. That's going to be bringing those chances for showers and storms across parts of the upper Midwest and the northern Corn Belt. So let's jump ahead to today, or jump back to today, I should say, taking a look at the satellite picture as the sun comes up on Tuesday morning. And that highlights a couple of things. First, we do see that area of rain and thunderstorms across parts of northern Illinois. As we go through the early to mid-morning hours here, we had showers and storms across parts of the Dakotas. Those have since weakened, although you can see one thunderstorm right here, the high anvil from that thunderstorm across southeastern North Dakota as well. If you look across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas, this is outflow from an area of thunderstorms during the overnight that has continued to move on. And that's important when we take a look at the radar here. Honing in on the Midwest right now, I want to highlight the area of rain across northern Illinois right now. But I also want you to look back west over towards Kansas and Nebraska, where we had an area of thunderstorms progressing eastward across the area during the overnight hours, and then they begin to weaken as we head into the morning. So let me play this once more. Again, here they come, and they begin to fade out right over here. Let me jump ahead. They weaken right here across parts of northwestern Missouri and southern Iowa. One more time, because I want to mention, when we get these clusters of thunderstorms that move through the area during the summer, they weaken during the morning often. But their guts, the kind of ghost of that system lives on. That cold outflow from those thunderstorms continues to move off to the east, and that is going to help be a focal point for the redevelopment of those thunderstorms across parts of western Illinois as we get into the evening and the overnight hours tonight into Wednesday morning. So you watch that one more time. These begin to move to the east. They die out, but that ghost of that system will continue and then flare back up during the late evening and the early afternoon, or the late evening, early overnight hours across parts of western Illinois, and then those continue to track off to the east or the southeast across much of the eastern Corn Belt over the next 24 to 36 hours. So where exactly those form and the configuration they take, the exact direction they're going to move, is going to be playing a major role in who sees rain over the next 24 to 48 hours before we shift our attention to that slow-moving low coming out of the southwestern United States. Just quickly taking a full view here of the national picture here with the radar. Again, you can see that rain over northern Illinois. You see the rain over the Dakotas that weakened as we got into the early morning hours. There it is. And then that cluster of storms moving across parts of Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri that also weakened as we headed into the morning hours that, again, may fuel the redevelopment of showers and storms during the later part of the day. We'll look at the high-resolution rapid refresh model. This is the simulated radar reflectivity. This will take us through the next day and a half. And again, we'll watch here. I'm going to go ahead and click through time so we can kind of follow along with this together. As we head through the midday, the early afternoon, and the mid-afternoon, things are pretty quiet across the Corn Belt. But as we get into the later afternoon hours, we're going to be watching a couple areas to flare back up. First, we're going to be watching over here along the mid-Mississippi Valley here, parts of Missouri and Iowa, or Missouri and Illinois, I apologize there, for those thunderstorms flaring up around sunset tonight. We'll also be looking across parts of Minnesota for the redevelopment of some showers and storms. Again, that is kind of the leftovers from the showers and storms moving across North Dakota during the overnight, flaring back up across parts of Minnesota. We'll also look towards the dry line across parts of western Kansas and western Nebraska for some scattered showers and storms to begin developing. But let's go through the overnight now. As we again we're watching primarily the eastern Corn Belt now. Things have begun to die out as we head into the Wednesday overnight hours. And as we wake up on Wednesday, we're really watching the eastern Corn Belt right now. Several potential clusters of showers and storms moving through the area, and maybe some redevelopment as we head into the afternoon hours on Wednesday, again across parts of the eastern Corn Belt. I'm going to take a look at the 3-kilometer NAM model now, the high-resolution NAM model, which will take us out a little bit further over the next 3 days. And show you a similar look. I'll go ahead and pause this here once I get the ability to do so, and we'll bring it back to Tuesday morning. Heading into Tuesday afternoon and evening, you see a similar picture, storms flaring back up across parts of Missouri and Illinois as we head into the late evening and the early overnight hours. You're seeing showers and storms developing across parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin on Tuesday evening and going into Tuesday night. And then also seeing the dry line lighting up from the Texas Panhandle into parts of western Kansas and Nebraska. But as we get into Wednesday morning, just as the high-resolution rapid refresh model showed, Wednesday morning, most of the precipitation moving across parts of the eastern Corn Belt by now in the form of several clusters of showers and thunderstorms. As we head into Wednesday afternoon, again watching maybe for some redevelopment across parts of the eastern Corn Belt from Missouri into Iowa, or Missouri into Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, with additional thunderstorms possible again along the dry line in very isolated nature across parts of Kansas and Nebraska. And then we head into Wednesday overnight into Thursday morning. And things beginning to quiet down across the eastern Corn Belt, and then we'll turn our attention off to the south as we watch this low begin to slowly move out of the southern plains into the Ohio River Valley, watching for the rain moving into the area late week, trying to track how far north that's going to extend. So straight from the high-resolution NAM model, this is the precipitation total forecast getting us through Thursday midday. Now, if you're good, you pick yourself out on the map up here. Do your best not to try and focus in on how much rain you're getting. For example, here in Champaign-Urbana, if I try and mark myself right here, I might freak out and say, I'm going to get, another 2 inches of rain. Looking over at the color chart over there, that's not the purpose of me showing this. I don't want you to pick yourself out and then decide, whether this is good or bad news. I want you to notice the pattern here. Across the eastern Corn Belt, where we're really concerned about, scattered pockets of showers and thunderstorms, one or more clusters of showers and storms from Tuesday evening into Thursday morning. I want you to notice the scattered nature here. There's going to be plenty of people who get nothing over the next 2.5 days, and there's going to be a handful of folks who are going to get a downpour or two and end up with maybe an inch or two of rain on their field, and I really feel for those folks, but This is a pattern that's going to be a bit hard to predict in advance because we really need to just kind of watch it hour by hour for where these showers and storms end up popping up. So, a mindset going into this might be to just, we got to try and see how much planting we can get done, keep things rolling, but keep an eye on the radar because it's going to be a nowcast type situation where, again, we're not talking about a big storm system that's going to produce multiple states of heavy prolonged rain that's maybe easy to forecast, saying that, you'll see rain for the next couple of days. But again, with a pattern like this, some people are going to get nothing. Some people are going to get a downpour or two. And it's just going to be something we're going to have to watch, not only day by day, but hour by hour until we get into the later part of the week and we start watching this slow-moving low coming out of the southern U.S., moving into the Ohio River Valley. Also take note of the Dakotas here over the next 2.5 days, getting us to Thursday afternoon. Precipitation across this area very isolated, so most people across the Dakota is going to be remaining dry until we get into at least Thursday afternoon, with just a select few ending up with maybe a shower or storm. Across parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, maybe a little bit heavier in the precipitation here. This is going to be coming from later in the week, so Thursday maybe seeing some precipitation, then also seeing those storms possibly flaring back up late Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday morning across this area as well. Remember, we saw storms moving across North Dakota overnight into the early morning hours, and those may flare back up as they get into central Minnesota later on this afternoon and evening. So now let's look ahead a little bit more long-term. Let's talk about late in the week, now that I've kind of painted the picture here with the isolated and scattered nature to the showers and storms across the eastern Corn Belt here over the next couple of days. I've got the upper level winds, the jet stream winds here on the left from the European model, and then precipitation type over on the right. I can already point out the players here. Here is the low over the southwestern U.S. that we'll be watching. This is the short wave, this little patch of stronger winds across Kansas and Missouri, moving into the eastern Corn Belt that is triggering the scattered storms Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then you're already seeing the entrance of the next storm system that's going to bring showers and storms to parts of the northern plains midweek as well. So let me take my drawings off here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to click through time over this once I get the little scroller on the bottom to show up. So here we go. We're starting on Tuesday. We're going into Wednesday morning now. And what you're seeing is those scattered showers and storms over the eastern Corn Belt associated with this short wave right here. We begin to move into Thursday morning. And now Thursday afternoon, the eastern Corn Belt shortwave has exited the picture, and now we are focused in on this trough over the southern U.S. And the associated precipitation with that you're already seeing start taking shape here from parts of Kansas into Missouri and Illinois, along the Ohio River Valley and south from there. Take my drawings off once more, and let's go ahead slowly into Friday morning, into Friday evening, and now we're still watching this. Off to the south, we're seeing the precipitation making its way into maybe the southern third of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, possibly further south than that in parts of Ohio, really hugging the Ohio River Valley here. Southern Minnesota or southern Missouri picking up some rain from this as well. We're also looking north as we get into, this is again Friday evening, starting to see the effects of that approaching storm system over the Pacific Northwest, bringing in some showers and storms along the dry line there in parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, and maybe far western Nebraska. Let's go ahead slowly now into Friday night, Saturday morning, and now midday on Saturday. This thing is still, got to take one more drawing off there, still just slowly moving through the southern United States. The center of low pressure at the surface right about here, perhaps where Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky all come together there on the Ohio River Valley here, but getting those thunderstorms, scattered showers and storms lifting up north into parts of the eastern Corn Belt at this point. This is again Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Also look off to the north. Here's that big trough continuing to make its way into the northern plains. Starting to see those showers and storms develop along that as well on Saturday afternoon and evening across the Dakotas. These would be isolated, scattered in nature, but severe weather possible. Large hail, damaging winds, maybe an isolated tornado or two. So scattered in nature, but a higher severe weather threat off to the north as we get into the late part of the week. Let's go ahead. We'll move forward slowly again, just a little bit further, getting into Sunday morning now. Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, continuing to watch this circulation slowly move along the Ohio River Valley and seeing that precipitation follow along that. I kind of lost it here. Let's go ahead and just get back to Sunday, and then I'll pause it. There we go. And so what I also want to do is show you the differences here between the GFS and the European model, and so we'll go ahead and do that as well, just kind of showing you how they're handling things. And there is decent agreement as we continue to get a little bit closer here. Let me get my scroller to show up. So let's go ahead and jump back. We'll go to Tuesday. We'll go ahead and just kind of quickly go through the next days. I've really hammered on the Tuesday through Thursday situation, handling, again, isolated showers and storms across parts of the eastern Corn Belt, both on the European and the GFS model as we go through Wednesday evening. And then into Thursday evening now, starting to see the storm system emerge out of the southern U.S. On both models as we go through Friday afternoon. And then here would be Friday evening. Similar picture here. With that rain slowly making its way just north of the Ohio River Valley, or the Ohio River. The GFS a little bit slower here, perhaps with the emergence of this storm system having it hang back a little bit further to the west. As we move ahead into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, a slight difference in the placement of that low, where the European model has it a little bit further to the south. The GFS with the center of the low pressure here across central Missouri on Saturday evening, which would be a further north solution that might bring some heavier rain into parts of central Illinois if that were to be the case. But as we've watched this over the last few days, there's been a tendency for things to kind of shift in and align with the European model. So for now, we favor that. I want to show you both solutions, but we do favor the European model solution, which is a slightly further south solution for the precipitation across the Corn Belt. As we get into Sunday evening now, the GFS model has the low sitting over central Illinois. The European model has the low sitting over the Ohio River in southern Indiana or northern Kentucky. And again, that solution with the GFS has a little bit further north with the precipitation, but both of these models do have light rain at least falling across much of the eastern Corn Belt by the time we get to the back half of the weekend. So it looks like if you're one of the lucky people who ends up with no rain when we talk about these scattered showers and storms Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, for parts of Illinois, central Indiana, Ohio, there is plenty of possibility here that I think that we may, if you're dry Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that you may be dry until late in the day, Saturday into Sunday. That's when it really looks like the rain becomes more widespread. In the Corn Belt here is getting closer to Saturday and Sunday, perhaps lingering into Monday. But it looks like maybe another bit of a reprieve here, certainly maybe late in the day Thursday, but then Friday and then the first part of Saturday looking like maybe that rain will struggle to move north into the area. We'll go ahead and look side by side at the GFS and the European rainfall totals, taking us through Sunday evening. And again, you can kind of see, we don't know exactly where this line's going to set up. The line differentiating between kind of some of the heavier precipitation, the northern extent of that across parts of the eastern Corn Belt here, where maybe we're talking about picking up an inch or two of precipitation from this slow-moving system. Eric will have another update. He'll have his long-range update tomorrow morning, but then again Thursday morning with our ag forecast video, and then I'll have a final Corn Belt update for you here midday on Friday, where we can kind of really hone in on who's going to be seeing the most precipitation from this slow-moving low. But for now, I guess, if you're in the eastern Corn Belt, fingers crossed that you're able to dodge these clusters of showers and thunderstorms over the next 48 hours, because that would set you up to have another couple of dry days Friday and Saturday for some of you before this moves in late Saturday into Sunday, lingering into Monday. We'll talk about temperatures quickly just to finish out here. The next 5 days, temperature anomaly is a bit warmer over the northern plains, closer to average, but still slightly above average across the southern and the eastern Corn Belt. We do have cooler weather coming, though, on the backside of this major system moving through the northern plains during the later part of the week. Will be a bit cooler across a lot of the Corn Belt, especially across the western Corn Belt when we talk about the period from June 10th to June 14th. High temperatures over the next 5 days, just to close this out here. Your Tuesday high temperatures warmest across the central and northern plains, where we'll be in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees, upper 70s to near 80 degrees across the eastern Corn Belt, where we've got more rain and cloud cover in the mix. Your Wednesday high temperatures, and then Thursday shifting to a slightly cooler regime. Friday, and then finally on Saturday, temperatures widespread across the Corn Belt in the upper 70s to the lower 80s for your Saturday high temperatures. I'm going to do this one more time again. If you've got storm or flood imagery or commentary on the planting progress that you're making or struggling with, you can find me on Twitter at SkyDrama. You can also email me images or some words just to kind of clue me in on how things are going in your local area at andrew.pritchard@nutrien.com. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video. And I'll have your next Friday morning, or your next Corn Belt regional forecast for you right here midday on Friday, again, where we can a little bit hammer in more on that storm system coming in later in the week. Have a great day. I'll talk to you again on Friday morning.